evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Can y'all hear me okay without the microphone?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because it makes me a little nervous too. First of all, I just want to thank all of you beautiful women for coming to celebrate Mother's Day with us. Guys, you are not to be excluded, but our mothers are certainly to be applauded. So thank you. As always, well, I'll save her acknowledgments and thanks for the end because, you know, for her to put together such a beautiful event, for us to be able to celebrate and honor each other is just commendable. And, you know, she's a truly special woman. I just have to make sure at the end I give her another thanks. I'm kind of dodging the sun. I'll try over here. Imagine my surprise when I found out that public speaking is one of the top 3 fears in America. You know, when Monique originally asked me to speak at this Mother's Day event, I hesitated because of the feat that I have with my own children. Self-doubt immediately set in, and I didn't think that I was worthy enough to be a speaker at a Mother's Day celebration. I was a resident of West Care Healthy Women and Children's Program, but at that time I was not ready, and I was a hellion. and they kicked me out. Oh, it's okay, because nothing happens in God's world by mistake. On my son's 4th birthday, I lost custody of my children. My parental rights were terminated. But I was fortunate enough to have a loving and caring mother in my life who was able to take my children, and she's here with me today. She takes care of 4 children day in, day out, without complaint. Without complaint. And I could never, ever, ever repay you for that. And I promised myself I was not going to cry in the first 30 seconds. So we have to get past that one. But Mama, I love you so much. I love you so much. For me, Mother's Day is very bittersweet. I lost my mother when I was 10 years old. And I was immediately thrust into a step family. So those feelings of not belonging, not fitting in, not looking like, not feeling like, set in when I was very young. And so I immediately sought relief. I wanted to be anybody but me, because I didn't look like my brothers and sisters. And we all know families divided. I have my step family, I have my mama's family, I have daddy's family. And my mother was the glue that held us all together. So when she died, I was the little black child lost. I did not know where I belonged. And it took a series of unfortunate events for me to even begin to identify what I wanted to do with my life. And I'm still, you know, working on that. It's a work in progress. I grew up in Chicago in a gang-infested neighborhood, and I had to fight my way to school every single day. But school was my first addiction. I wanted to escape. I knew in school I was safe. I didn't have to worry about nothing but school. And the violence, of course. But I knew then that there was favor over my life. I saw people get stabbed and shot in school on a regular basis. And somehow, I still excelled. But again, because I was looking for that love outside of me, instead of figuring out where the void was truly coming from, I looked to men. And I looked to gambling. And I looked to clothes. And I looked to food. I looked to anything that I thought was going to make me feel better. So my senior year of high school, I had my first baby. 18 years old with a baby. Because of the gang violence, my uncle was shot 7 times. He had 9 holes in his body because he had on the wrong jacket in the wrong neighborhood. And another one of those things in my life that I thought was one of the worst things that could have happened to me was actually for my salvation, because that's what brought my second mother to me, my Auntie Murdis. She came to Chicago to get her brother, but what she really did was rescue me. So she took me down south, and what she tried to do was give me a sense of a normal life because she seen how I was living. And me thinking I'm a city slicker, them country boys couldn't do nothing with me. And I stayed there for a while, but again, I was unruly. At that time, I didn't know the true nature of my disease. Smoking weed was a normal occurrence, drinking was a normal thing, We partied on the weekend. We worked half a day during the week, and we survived. And at that time, that's all my life was about, was survival. There was no aspirations to go on to college. There was no aspirations to be a world-renowned author. There was no aspirations to do anything but survive. So I always assumed that I just needed the right him, or the right job, or be in the right place, or the right windfall to befall me, and my life would be okay. So I went from city to city, job to job, lover to lover, car to car, house to house, and everywhere I went, I was there. So I had the same problems no matter what city I found myself in. I had the exact same set of circumstances. And the year escapes me. But 8 years ago, so whoever's quick with math, it was that year, 8 years ago. Okay, 2004. It was 2004. Thank you. I moved to Las Vegas. And here I was, and I found him. And no matter what city I went to, I always found him. Him to validate me. Him that had a car, him that had a job, him that had a house. Because that's all I needed to get myself on track and get off to a good start. Was it him who had it all together? And him was my supervisor, and so we all know how that goes. And it turned out horribly. But in my mind, I was determined to not go back home. So I did what I felt I needed to do. So I did build a life for myself in Las Vegas. I had a janitorial service. I had about 25 employees, so it was pretty prosperous. I had a home in Henderson. I had the dogs, even though I'm allergic. But I just thought that's what you're supposed to do, is have a dog in a house and a car. And that was my definition of success. That's what I was aiming for. I took on a business partner who later bankrupted me. And my children's father, at that time, he did what he was raised, what he knew to do. He did what he knew to do. And he started hustling. I joined him. And we were going to take over Las Vegas. Of course, that was not to be our reality. So we became petty criminals. We did a lot of things that I'm sure my family would be ashamed if they truly knew the depths of my addiction. But for whatever reason, God kept them far enough away from me that they didn't have to see the life that I was living. And they get to see me in my recovered life. Only by the grace of God. Only by the grace of God. So I had to go through my series of unfortunate events, in and out of jails. I took tour of every detentional center in Las Vegas and the surrounding areas. I went again into West Care. And I thought that, because here I am, the intellectual type, I thought that being institutionalized would be enough for me to change my state of mind. How insane was I? Because what I did, instead of taking that time to empower myself, to learn some things, to regain my self-esteem, to rebuild myself, I just figured out how to do it better. That's what I did. And so, again, some of the details escape me because, drugs and alcohol do deteriorate your brain. So a lot of the details escape me, and I don't want to belabor the point. But I was in this vicious cycle. And Lord knows that I wanted to stop. I just didn't know how. I didn't want my family to have to cry for me and not know where I was. I didn't want to not be able to keep a phone number. I don't want to not be able to keep an address. I do not want to be ashamed to go knock on my mama's door to see my children because I was so haggard. I would get to my mother's doorstep and stop because I was too ashamed to knock and see my children. That's where addiction will take you. We're all here for that same common bond. In some shape, form, or fashion, addiction has plagued us and touched us all. It may not be you, but it may be your neighbor. It may be your children's father. It may be a woman that you see on the bus stop. And what people fail to realize is that it's a disease. It's a disease. And we can put it into remission with some treatment, with some guidance, with some step work, with an open and honest and willing heart. We can keep it in remission just like cancer, but it never goes away. Don't think for a minute that it goes away, because it never, ever, ever goes away. Not ever. Not never. Never. It's a long time. Never, ever. So that's why when you go to meetings and they tell you you can never have a drink again, they mean it. Because what happens is we have an allergy in our bodies that makes us physically different from our fellows. One is not enough. I have never had not one of anything, not one Lay's potato chip, not one not one wine cooler, not one marijuana cigar. I have not had not one, nothing, ever. Lord knows I ain't had missed not one meal. And then something in us make us have an addictive personality. So when they encourage us, ladies, to stay away from relationships for the first year, it's for a reason, because we will latch on to him, we will latch on to her, and we will think that this is going to fix us, and it won't. And then we'll get obsessed with that thing instead of us. What the program of recovery is all about is healing what's on the inside of you. When you heal what's on the inside of you, I promise you, it'll manifest itself into the universe. When you get the inside of you right, everything else just falls in place. I'm a living testimony of that. I'm a living testimony of that. I'm a believer, and this is my story, and I'm going to tell it how I see fit. But I believe that something happened to us at some point in our lives that left a void in us. And some of us fill that void with God. Some of it filled it with Nam Yoho Renge Kyo. Some of us filled it with books. Some of us filled it with him, with her, with food, with drugs, with alcohol, with gambling. The program of recovery allows you to peel those things back. Because I know what's for me, I'm gonna receive it. I'm gonna receive it. It don't matter what I think I've done in the past or how bad down the scales I have gone, because today I live an esteemable life, and so esteemable things happen. I promise you, I was the worst kind of drug addict there can be. The worst, the absolute worst. I didn't care what pain my family was experiencing. I didn't care that my bills weren't being paid. I didn't care that they had put a lock on my house. They gave me time to go get my stuff, and I couldn't even make it down the street. I was the worst one that there could be. I promise you. I was the worst one there could be. When I got pregnant with my twins in 2004, which I told y'all was the first year I got here, okay? I thought that was going to complete me, because that's all I ever really wanted from a young girl was a family. That American family that I dreamed of, that's all I wanted. But because I was so broken, that couldn't happen. And so 2 years later, I got pregnant again. Thought this time I was going to get it right. But by this time, crack cocaine had become my master. And I did what it told me to do. And I thought, slick talking, smart girl from Chicago, I'm just going to make a little money to get my house back in order. You can't play with fire and not expect to get burned. It does not happen. So if anybody had this great idea that they're going to go out and do something different, I did it. It don't work. When I got pregnant with my son, I tried everything within my power to stop. I tried. But we cannot do it alone. I thought that I had the willpower, the mental capacity to just stop. I knew what it was doing to my life, to my career, to my health, to my finances, to my unborn child. And I could not stop. So if that be you, just know that that's me too. And it's nothing that you have to be ashamed about. But now having the knowledge that you have, if you don't stop, that's where the issue lies. Because the program, again, will give you the tools that you need to rebuild, to start over. That's why I just got this phoenix tattooed on my leg. I know my family think I'm going through a midlife crisis. But it's about being reborn. It's about rebirth. Every day is an opportunity for us to be reborn. When I got pregnant with my youngest son, and mind you, throughout all of my pregnancies, I was in and out of the streets, in and out of institutions, sleeping on whoever couch would allow me, getting my next meal from wherever, wearing whatever clothes I could get my hands on, going to the doctor sporadically. And my youngest son really carried the brunt of all of that. He really did. And after the sibling before that, after seeing, he fought so hard to grow that he grew 2 thumbs on his right hand and 2 baby toes on his right foot, because he fought so hard to grow. Now, with a normal person, that would have been enough to stop, but it wasn't. It just wasn't. So I got pregnant again in my addiction. So this is child number 5. This is child number 5. And I was so delusional. I was so far in my addiction that I was hemorrhaging and still stopped to take one more. Because I thought just that one more and I was going to feel better and I was going to be able to fix all the horror that I had done. And when that son of mine was born, he was 3 pounds and 4 ounces. He was smaller than a bag of sugar. And now looking at what I had done, I couldn't live with myself. So I set off to commit suicide, and that's my truth. And I was going to take the coward's way out, and I was going to take one more and one more and one more until God just took me. And that was the great plan that I had for my life, because I couldn't bear to see what I did to him. He had bleeding on his brain. His lungs collapsed with every breath that he took. His liver was failing, his kidney was failing. But God. But God. That child is perfectly healthy today. I couldn't even stay still in the hospital long enough to see him through that. My mama had to get him from the hospital. By that time, I was in prison. Again, the thing that I thought was going to be the worst thing that could happen to me is the very thing that saved my life. Because had I not went to prison, I know I would be dead right now. I know I would. I know I would. And I was in prison, I got introduced to Alcoholics Anonymous. So see, you never know. You never know what God is trying to do for you. So don't fight against it. Don't fight against it. You get up in the morning, you thank God that, or whoever you choose to call your higher power. You clear your mind, you prepare for another day. There's a part of the readings that says, I have forgiven myself. I have forgiven myself for all the harm that I've caused to myself, to my career, to my finances. Once you get to that place of forgiveness, that's when healing begins. As long as you carry around that baggage of shame and guilt and sorrow and remorse, and I can't believe I did that, I can't move on from here. If you continue to hold on for that, you will never be free and you will never be able to truly recover. That grief will send you back to the streets faster than anything. Whatever it is you have to do to be able to forgive yourself and release it, work towards that. And I implore you to work towards it with every strength of your being, with every fiber of your being, every single day. Work towards it. Because then, and only then, will you be able to see how your pain, how your poison can be turned to medicine. Because I was given an opportunity. I thought getting kicked out of West Care, I'm like, oh man, I'm going back to jail again. And I'm sober. I thought that was the worst thing that could ever happen to me, but it introduced me to the world of recovery, truly. It introduced me to sober living homes. And I got to live in a couple before I came here, and they were not so nice. They were not so nice, but I knew then that I was serious about changing my life. And because I was doing the right things, because I was showing up and showing out every time I was asked, Monique actually recruited me. How she came in contact with me, again, the details escaped me. She interviewed me, and our spirits were so kindred. Exactly what she was doing or wanted to do is exactly what I wanted to do. I had other jobs. They were meaningless. This is what I wanted to do. This is where I knew I belonged. This is where I knew I could make a difference. That all that I had went through, it didn't have to be in vain. And so I came, and the house was still empty. And I slept on the air mattress when she had these two big, huge Mickey Mouse creatures here that used to terrify me. And we started a labor of love. And I watched this woman sweat. I watched her cry. I watched her move furniture for days and days and days on end and build and create and invest, take away from her own family to create a safe haven for a wretch like me. What did I do to deserve it? Not nothing. Not nothing. But it's people like that. It's people like that who makes me want to strive even harder. I see, and that's why I know y'all think I'm crazy, because I get so frustrated with people that come through this house and take advantage of her. And I'll hunt them down like a bounty hunter.
Good girl.
Because you know what, like I said, I've seen her here at 6 o'clock in the morning, cleaning. I've seen her at 7 o'clock at night, cooking for us. I've seen her charge her credit cards to build beds and buy sheets. I've seen her have events like this catered to make us feel worthy again. She's a rare jewel. So I beg all of you to just take a moment and stop and thank her. Take a moment to stop and thank her. Able to and have made financial contributions, we thank you, because again, without your help, without your support, things like this wouldn't be possible. You know, some of these women that's present today didn't have a way to celebrate Mother's Day, didn't have people in their life because of the wreckage of their past to deem them worthy to even celebrate Mother's Day. So for Monique to see that special thing inside of all of us, I mean, that's a gift that it leaves me paused without words. If I had not had the safe haven of Toni's house, I know that I wouldn't flourish to be the woman that I am now. Because being in some of those other places, in my mind, it was only a step above jail. It wasn't that much different. I still thought I had to fend for myself. I still thought that I had to do these things to survive. And Monique made a home for me. I know being in West Care is frustrating. I know if any of the ladies from We Care are here, I know it's frustrating. But they are giving you an opportunity. And that's what it is, an opportunity. You don't have to worry about where you're going to sleep, what you're going to eat, what you're going to wear, hygiene products, if your baby is going to be born okay. You don't have to worry about all those things that adults have to worry about on a daily basis. You get to relieve your mind of that so that you can heal and flourish. So give yourself a chance. It can be the worst thing that ever happened to you, or it can be the best. It's all a matter of perception. Because again, if I had not had this opportunity to be here and be someplace safe and be someplace that I was proud to call home, I wouldn't have been able to go back to school. This is my 3rd year in college, and I got a 3.0. Place where I was comfortable enough to say, Mama, can you please bring my kids to come and see me? Can they come over and visit? I wouldn't have had that. I wouldn't have been able to rebuild that relationship with my mom and my children. And again, I can only give a testimony that with the recovery, all parts of your life will be recovered. Don't try to figure it out today, because it's not going to all fall back into place today. I have 3 years and 19 days sober. So don't think you got to put it all back together. Do what's right in front of you. Follow the suggestions of the people that's been down this walk before you. Your intellect don't matter. Your former jobs don't matter. Your family at this point don't matter. All that matters is you healing. That's the only thing that really matters at this point. And I know that getting your kids back is a priority. But guess what? When you was running the streets, they want a priority. And you can't take care of them until you take care of you. I was heartbroken to think that I would never be able to be a mother to my kids again. But I know now that I'm being prepared mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. It's 5 of them. I don't know how my mama do it. I promise you, I don't know how she do it. mentioned being having to be prepared financially. We don't just, we just gonna let that go. But with this new life that you're gonna be given, it does come with a lot of work. And to whom much is given, much is required. What's required? We don't have the option to say no anymore. When another sister reach out their hand for help. We don't get the option to close our doors when one of our sisters needs somewhere to lay her head at night. We don't have the option to not speak, no matter how nervous we are. We don't have that option because we don't know who we can inspire with our words. Because for me, it took for me to hear someone who had suffered the same degradation that I did, for me to believe that my life could get better. Institutions wasn't enough. Those pretty silver handcuffs that they put on you, they wasn't enough. Sleeping on those concrete floors wasn't enough. Eating bologna wasn't enough. Wearing orange wasn't enough. He wasn't enough. My mom wasn't enough. My kids wasn't enough. Not having an ID, none of that was enough. I had to want to change. It don't matter what sanctions are imposed upon you. It don't matter what led you to West Care. It don't matter what led you to Toni's house. It don't matter what led you to Al-Anon and Ar-Anon. It don't matter. What matters is what keep you there. And the thing that has to keep you there is your true desire to live a different quality of life. I was that one that the counselors told me in court, you ain't gonna make it. You ain't gonna make it. You are not gonna make it. And it took that one counselor to tell me, I don't care what they say, yes you are. That's right. And now that same counselor is offering me a job. The same counselor. After all these people told me I wasn't gonna make it. The same judges that have sentenced me, I have their cell phone numbers. Because now they call to me for help. Because they know it's gonna take a real one like me to reach their people. At the police departments with the probation officers. Me. It still surprises me. I'm not gonna lie, the first time they asked me to come to North Las Vegas and meet with Chief, this person and this person and Lieutenant, I'm like, oh, this is a setup. So that thinking don't go away overnight. And this was just like about 6 months ago. And I know I haven't committed a crime in a long time. But my mind will still take me there. So if you catch yourself having those thoughts, they just thoughts. Let them go. Let them go. But the most important thing I can implore to you is work your programs. I know y'all hear it's almost a recital. And you think that these sayings, these slogans, that they don't mean anything. I promise you, these slogans that you hear on a day in and day out basis, they will save your life. They will save your life. They saved mine. It's like they told me, you can't hang out in a barbershop and not expect to get a haircut. Like, what does that mean? I had to live that. That means I can't go to unsavory places. I can't go places that I know will trigger me. This is a discovery process for you. When we are living that life, we often forget who we are because we become chameleons. We become who we need to become to survive. And this is a chance for you to rediscover yourself. You get the power of choice back. Choice is a beautiful thing. Choosing what you want to wear and what you want to eat and where you want to go and who you want to hang out with and what you want to be when you grow up. And what music station you want to listen to, what TV program you want to watch, what volume you want to listen to it at. Those are choices that we take for granted, everyday life stuff. And that's all we're striving for, is just the everyday life. I could go on, but I won't. But again, Monique, she's here now. Yes, no. I just truly want to thank you. I mean, you have been such an inspiration to me. You've done so much for so many people so selflessly. I've never in my life met anybody like you. And I mentioned it before, but you weren't here. For you to do this for for people who think they're undeserving, it means more to us than I can ever express in words. I don't know that I could have had my family back. I mean, this is my family. Amen. I know I wouldn't have had them back without you. I know I wouldn't have had them back without you. The jobs will come. The house will come. The kids will come. The cars will come. And I'm only saying that because it happened for me. When I got here, I didn't even have an ID. Because I couldn't keep up with it.
Driver's license and insurance.
I was going to tell that, but I was just going to tell it a little bit later. No driver's license, no ID, no goals, no dreams, no aspirations. I thought no family. I didn't have anything. But because I did what was asked of me, and I did so with a contrite spirit, and I did so humbly and gratefully, it all came back. In recovery, I was able to go into a lot and buy my first brand new car. I've never been able to do it, even before drug use. I told y'all, this is my third year in college, and I got a 3.0. How? I don't know, because I can't even remember dates, but I'm doing good in college. I have a job that I absolutely love. And let me tell y'all about my job. My job is the Director of Community Relations. Y'all know how I got this job? Because of the knowledge that I gained running the streets. Knowing how to get a free ID. Knowing where to get clothes. Knowing where the food banks were. And I was able to assimilate all this information to be able to pass it on to other people, and somebody saw some value in that. And pay me to do that very thing. In recovery, those are the type of things that can happen to you. My very first car, this lady sold me a car that was running perfectly fine. Y'all remember Bussie? We had some long hot days in Bussie for $150. So don't tell me that we ain't blessed and highly favored. But you got to show and prove yourself worthy. You got to let go of the past, because you can't get blessed with nothing if your fist is balled up so tight holding on to the past. Let it go. That's all you got to do, is just let go. Let go and let God, and I promise you He'll show up for you. Or Buddha, or Allah. To start whatever you believe in something, because you cannot do it alone. You cannot do it alone. How many people here in recovery? How many people got a year? Keep your hand up if you got a year. How many people got their year by themselves? None of us. These are people that you connect with. These are people that you encircle with. These are people that you encompass in your life. The people who understand your struggle. The people that's going to hold you down when you have one of the bright ideas. These are people that's going to bring you back to sanity. When you get those feelings of loneliness and think you got to go find you with Him, your sisters are going to be the ones to uphold you and tell you to fill that void with something that's real, something that's going to last. Because I know you, Miss D.
Yes.
Dues, donuts, and donations. Those the 3 D's she told us to stay away from. Because relationships, if they go sour and you're not spiritually fit enough to handle them, you're going to use. If you're too concerned about your physical appearance and gaining weight, because it's going to happen, look at me, it's going to happen, you'll use. And if you get, excuse me, and if you get too consumed in the physical stuff, getting the stuff back, you'll make some decisions that you regret. So just take it easy, work your program, go to your meetings, get a sponsor, get connected, do all the writing, because it really does help. This is one of my journals from West Care. And where you at, Bernie?
I had to take it back.
Huh?
I had to take it back.
Okay. Well, I wrote a little poem when I was in West Care, and I just want to share this with y'all. And we're going to be done, okay? It's called Queen. Believe in yourself and what you can do. Remember, real dreams do come true. The power to build, to create, and to change are all possibilities within our range. God has made us fearfully and wonderfully and gave us the ability to live life abundantly. The choices we've made have shaped who we become. Love me for who I am, not for what I have done. I must learn to be whom I want to attract. You reap what you sow, and that's a fact. Pride, strength, respect, determination are all characteristics that built this nation. It takes a village to raise a child. Where is yours? Is he running wild? Think about your hopes, your dreams, and your future, not all the positions of the conversation. Each decision you make.
She slid that in there for real.
Like, this all on you now.
There we go.
All right.
Each decision you make, every risk you take, you must remember what's really at stake. The life you live is not your own, but also to those whom you belong. Your God, your family, your friends, and your church. Remember, sisters, what you are truly worth. Demand the best. Set your expectations high. Because you are a queen, not what's between your thighs.
That's right.